Hi, I'm Laura Lorek, your host of the Ideas to Invoices podcast. And today I have the pleasure of interviewing Beth White, who is the dynamic founder and chief bot of MeBeBot, a pioneering company in AI-powered solutions revolutionizing the employee experience. With a rich background spanning all aspects of HR in startups and Fortune 100 companies, Beth transitioned to enterprise software sales in the retail tech sector, focusing on omni-channel mobile solutions. In 2018, Beth's passion for enhancing business-to-consumer customer experiences within workplaces led her to establish MeBeBot. Her innovative approach to digitally transforming the employee experience through AI has garnered acclaim, with both Beth and MeBeBot receiving prestigious awards for their groundbreaking work. Notable distinctions include recognition for future of workplace solutions and women entrepreneur leadership from esteemed organizations such as Women in Cloud and SHRM. Beth holds a BA from the University of Wisconsin and an MBA from St. Edward's University. Welcome, Beth.
Thank you, Laura, for having me today. I appreciate being here with you.
Beth, can you start by telling us what inspired you to create MeBeBot and how the company has grown since its early days?
Absolutely. And what's really fun is the fact that AI has changed so much. And in the early days of starting MeBeBot, it really was sparked by an idea of, wow, maybe there's a way to bring a consumer-like experience with inside the workplace. How would that work? What would that look like? And when we think about brands and retailers, they connect very well with their customers, perhaps for the main goal of selling their products and services. However, with inside the organizations, there's really been a gap in people understanding how to connect with the employees and actually servicing their needs to be the best that they can be with inside companies. And so really with the advent of AI chatbots, and I'm dating myself in the world of AI, is been over 6 years, and starting to see some of the consumer-facing chatbots pop up on your bank's website or insurance companies or even in your shopping experiences. It was a huge opportunity to provide a new, what we call digital front door, to guide an employee through an experience with inside their employee workplace growth. And so it really, Slack, Teams have made it even more accessible because MeBeBot is an app that is installed in Slack and Teams so that employees have this single face of interface to the business, which is really what everyone needs these days when we're all feeling a little bit overwhelmed.
And you were doing AI before generative AI, already providing the chatbot kind of experience before the rest of us kind of were clued in through OpenAI's ChatGPT.
Yeah, it's been wonderful and very I guess eye-opening to see the advances in AI. I mean, we all knew in the space that, with the advent of cloud computing and the speed of chips manufactured that can really speed up processing power, more advanced AI was going to come to fruition. And when we began, it was in the era of let's use technology that's similar to Siri and Alexa or Google Home devices, anything that was really voice enabled, which leverages natural language processing and machine learning to really kind of power this employee experience with inside companies. And wow, with the world of generative AI, it really opens up opportunities, but it also brings a lot of questions, concerns, and potentially fear with inside people and their organizations on how AI will be impacting their day-to-day lives and the future of work, really.
Yeah, we don't all want to be replaced by robots. We want to work with them, but not.
It's all about working alongside the technology. I mean, the whole core focus of MeBeBot was how do we make work more meaningful? And by doing so, it's combining that aspects of people plus technology plus company culture, which still has to embrace this world of learning and curiosity and growth. And then we'll get to that place where it's not a competition between the people and the robots, but it's a cooperation to understand how we can all, again, use our skills and talents to their best abilities with inside organizations.
I use ChatGPT and AI to augment my abilities and also as my personal assistant, and I rely on it almost daily now. which is strange because I turn to it more and more for help with different research projects and things I'm interested in.
I think that's great, Laura. I was at a session the other night with a number of individuals that were frankly just getting started on their journey of experimenting with AI, and there was a lot of differing opinions and again some fears and concerns. But there was one comment that I thought was very interesting, saying, "Well, AI is not a toy." And frankly, I raised my hand and said, "Well, it actually is. Like, treat it like a toy. Treat it like first of all, an assistant to help you, but then think of it in a playful way. And you can start to really test the boundaries of some of the aspects of generative AI and how it can be helpful to you. And it is important to note that generative AI is just one facet of AI, because there's been AI inside workplaces, inside technologies for years. And people may not have even realized it was running some of the programs that they were using day to day in their work, or it was embedded within, an aspect of an email system that they were using, et cetera.
Yeah, speaking of toy, I used it to create a theme song for Silicon Hills News.
That's awesome. See, that's a fun part about it, because it gets your creative juices flowing and helps you really understand that, not to get too philosophical, but instead of thinking about our day-to-day lives and the way we've always done things in the structure that's put in place by the systems and tools and ways we've been doing things, it allows you an opportunity to really question, what are you doing, and what's the actual end outcome, and how can I get there faster? And it starts to make you really have to break down everything you do. Like, again, having a conversation with people that work for a state agency. Well, we could use AI to help us fill out a form. But why are you filling out that form? Like, where's the form going? And what's the next step in that process? And how could you get the person who's filling out a form because they need a special service or need from the state to get to the actual services faster? It's like getting people to start thinking more creatively, which a lot of times we haven't had the liberty to do as much of at work because we've had a lot of structure. And so it's really starting to spawn a whole new skill set that people are going to start to have inside workplaces, because frankly, AI is not going anywhere, and we are working alongside this technology. So learn how to, like, getting involved and learning how to have it be an assistant to you is really kind of a great mindset to have.
That reminds me, in Germany, they're still using fax machines because they wanted to slow down the adoption of technology. And they also wanted to put bureaucracy in place because of its history. They didn't want anybody to be able to upend the country. And so they're battling getting rid of fax machines in the age where we're all adopting AI as assistants. So some things move fast, some things not so fast.
Yeah, and I think it comes from a fear of not understanding how it works. And again, I think that's where the education is something we do a lot of at MeBeBot. We educate the people in our industry of, what is AI, how does it work, what's in large language models, what's the difference between a large language model and a domain model, or data specific model to a business, so that the more you can kind of peel back the layers of the onion, the more you get more comfortable with it, so that it's not something that you're always questioning, but something that you can move toward more of that curiosity mindset.
And now MeBeBot recently achieved significant milestones in your first quarter of this year. What were some of the highlights, and what do they mean for your company's future?
Yeah, absolutely. In this whole era of AI moving fast and furiously, like you mentioned, we started out in 2019 timeframe, bringing a product to market, our AI chatbot assistant to automate employee support, communications, feedback, and people data. We've quickly advanced to having a AI platform solution that's native and brought into companies. And the announcement we made in maybe March timeframe was about how we have a hybrid AI platform that's incorporating the best aspects of generative AI, meaning generative AI does a great job of taking unstructured data and making sense of it, but applying some very specific domain and customer data models to make it fit the business needs that we solve for. And then we have the human in the loop to verify that process. So that's part of what we call our AI wizard, kind of application within this hybrid AI platform. But getting that whole solution to market was really the big highlight of the first quarter of this year. And that was an exciting time for us.
Your AI wizard functionality sounds innovative. How does it improve the employee experience, and what makes it stand out from other assistants?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question because there's a lot of, I call it noise, and a lot of information out there and various ways that companies can go about solving different types of pains inside their company. However, what makes the AI wizard different is we really have a lens to the business problem we're solving, which is the needs of employees within inside a company. If you think about how large language models were trained, it's typically on a lot of publicly sourced data that has been ingested inside these engines. And inside these engines, they've been trained to perform a different way. However, when you think about the needs of employees inside of a company, that's not data that was ever trained in these large language models. And so what our AI wizard does is it takes some of the benefits of a large language model. We apply what we call retrieval augmented generation, or RAG as it's known, to this AI in this AI wizard widget, we'll call it. And that allows us to even take a large document like, say, an employee handbook, and we can ingest that whole document. We can synthesize the parts down, but leveraging our domain-specific knowledge base, meaning or data model, where we have ingested so many different types of questions from employees over the years. We actually inject what we call synthetic data into it as well, so that it can really understand what the needs is or what the need of that section of the handbook is meant to convey, and deduces it to a paragraph. But we take it one step further. We frankly require a human in the loop to verify the newly generated answer that then they can change and edit, and essentially we call it lock in place, so that every employee gets this consistent answer to a question. That's really the whole concept of when you start hearing people talk about having guardrails within inside of a product or solution. We've enabled guardrails because there is going to be a need in the near future where whatever communications you provide to an employee, whether it be, employee support through an AI chatbot, or sending out communications, that is company information being delivered to an employee. If there were to be an employee relations issue out of that content that was generated, and given to an employee, I mean, it is, again, company information that could be perceived as something that could be inserted as evidence in a potential court case, right? So it's protecting the company from the legal liabilities of what could happen if you instead just had generative AI producing different answers to every employee based on how that employee formulated a question, versus in a more controlled, concise, and compliant way to deliver information that really captures the essence of what the company wants to convey. And I hope that's not too confusing. I know that was a kind of a lot, but it's an important aspect to what's kind of happening out there in the space of AI. It is great, but when you're looking at it in the lens of an employer, that's where employers need, and get a little scared, because they always think of the what ifs, right? And so we help protect them from the what ifs.
It's important with generative AI or any kind of AI to trust but verify. Accuracy and compliance. They're top of need for most corporations. So it sounds like with your MeBeBot system, with a human in the loop, you're able to provide that service to the company. So it's not spitting out some kind of hallucination that's going to cause the company problems with an employee, or down the road, like as you mentioned, in a lawsuit.
Yeah, I mean, that's essentially it. Is, the term hallucinations, is, meaning, AI that can't be trusted and is not validated. And so that AI wizard that we have within our hybrid product, which again combines both the generative AI elements, as well as our core foundation of natural language processing and machine learning, and ties to this curated knowledge base of content, really does ensure the accuracy of information and provides a trusted solution to employees. Because at the end of the day, technologies is only as good as the user adoption. And if you put the employee in the center of the design experience with the technology, that's what's really going to drive them to use a solution and better their lives. Because the whole purpose of MeBeBot is employees have questions that they may need answered around their paycheck or benefits, or even IT focused or facilities focused. They need to get that information when they need it. They don't want to have to wait to submit a case, wait a ticket to HR, or send an email. They'd love to get that information back now. And then in the world of the HR, IT teams, and ops teams, they're so overwhelmed. If they can get a boost and freed up time to focus on other work that's more strategic for the business, that's a really big value add. And we think a lot about this, Laura. And just to add a little side note, we started a group. I know that you joined, which is awesome, called Ethical AI for HR. So it's a LinkedIn group. And if you search for it, you can join other people who are coming from a background of the law profession. We have people in from governmental agencies. We have people that are vendors creating AI technologies for the people experiences within companies. And then we have a lot of the HR leaders with inside companies and CISOs that are concerned and wanting to follow paths to utilizing AI in a responsible way. And so we're talking a lot about the fast pace of what may be coming as far as legal changes, and that will impact employers.
I'm glad you're doing that, because the laws are lagging in this area, as they always do with technology, because the technology moves a lot faster than our legal system or any legislative system. And it's really hard to put the guardrails up once the horse is out.
Genie's out of the bottle, as we say, right?
Yeah. I'm in the country, so it's the horse is out of the gate.
The horse is out of the barn, right? Yeah. That is so true. And we're not advocating a lot. I mean, we're not out there not everybody's advocating legalese. It's like maybe there's a way people can just be more educated and understand, so that there's a lens to it that's more on the organizations as a whole to be responsible, because that's really where it is today. I mean, everyone from the CEO to the CISO, Chief Information Security Officer, or CIOs, to the HR leaders, I mean, they're all collectively getting together and thinking about, AI use cases inside their businesses. Many companies are starting steering committees to focus on this, so that there's a process to go through to evaluating technology that's being used to make sure it adheres with the company's values, the company's legalese, and everything else that really supports the end game, which is how do we, again, make lives easier for everyone inside the workplace by leveraging this technology, and to the customers that most companies serve as well.
And you've recently expanded your leadership team with Mindy Honkoop and Lydia Wu. How do their backgrounds enhance MeBeBot's mission and vision?
It's been awesome to have both Mindy and Lydia as part of our team. Mindy came in as a prior customer to MeBeBot, so she worked with our technology at two different companies. And frankly, you'll appreciate this, Laura. We asked her to start writing blogs for us and content to help, again, educate the people like yourselves that were embracing technology like MeBeBot with inside their organizations. And so she's leading up our customer success initiatives, because again, having someone who's worked with our product can actually help our customers be more successful in using our technology and keeping them on a roadmap to understanding, again, the responsible AI, as well as different use cases that will really impact their lives. So that's been super great to have her join the team. And then Lydia Wu comes to us from having a background from Accenture and Deloitte, as well as Panasonic. And she's bringing her expertise in a lot of the enterprise technology infrastructure as it relates to the people experiences, or as some people call it, HR tech. It's a pretty vast ecosystem of technology options that are out there, and understanding how the different systems can work together is going to allow us to do more to really personalize the experience for employees by helping really guide them through, answers to questions that allow them to get the issues solved from the moment of interaction with MeBeBot, instead of having to go to seven different systems to do one simple thing, which is how some organizations are structured today. So Lydia has this great technical understanding of that infrastructure in place inside organizations, and Mindy's just great to help us really keep the voice of the customer loud and clear in our product development.
And I know you've been bootstrapped, but you recently did raise some capital, and you are are you on a seed stage round, or are you on a Series A round that you're looking to raise this year?
Yeah, actually, we'll probably not be fundraising this year. We did raise an angel round of funding, and we are focused highly on sales at this point in time. However, we'll likely launch into a seed round of funding sometime early next year, depending who you are and what you call a seed round of funding, So,
Yeah.
but we'll be looking for institutional investors in the near future in 2025.
Okay, yeah. Seed rounds nowadays were what Series A were in Austin 10 years ago.
Exactly. That's why, and then even what they're calling it in California and other parts of the country could be different. So,
Yeah. Well, being included in the G2 grid for intelligent virtual assistants is a big achievement. What does this recognition mean for MeBeBot and your customers?
yeah, I mean, it's been really great because the G2 grid is a great source of information for potential people, or for people looking for technology, and to kind of get an idea of how others are using these technologies inside their workplaces. And the category, this is the hard part about being an innovative solution in a space where there really wasn't a category when we started. And even the category of intelligent virtual assistants, even today, is for solutions that are both on the consumer facing side. Some market leaders like Intercom and Drift that have been out there and preceding MeBeBot, doing innovative things in business to consumer chatbot experiences and intelligent virtual experiences, to now this category includes what we call the B2B solutions, the business to business solutions like MeBeBot, that are servicing the needs within inside organizations. So to me, it's still a broad category, but it's been so exciting to be part of such a large category of market leaders in that space, because, many of us have been out there in the era of, AI, again, long before generative AI came along, and we're continuing to iterate and grow with the technology.
You mentioned before about Slack. So, how does MeBeBot's Dex platform integrate with tools like Microsoft Team and Slack to boost employee productivity and engagement?
Yeah, absolutely. So MeBeBot began as an app in the Slack app marketplace, as well as, we'll date ourselves, we were an app inside Skype for Business even before Teams began. So what that means is that, in Microsoft Teams or in Slack, when companies are utilizing these tools as part of their day-to-day work, MeBeBot's just pinned as one of the side items on the toolbar or in the app, section of Slack, so that it's constantly accessible and available to employees anytime, what we call in the flow of work. And that's, again, back to the human-centered design thinking we've always put toward the employee is, we want to keep it as a frictionless experience. So we want to go where they're doing their work. And those tend to be a lot of the collaboration platforms that are preferred by knowledge workers. Now, one thing that we're doing and we'll be launching here this summer is an SMS text messaging interface to MeBeBot. And that may seem potentially technology backwards to some people listening in. However, there's a whole population of frontline and service workers that, frankly, need our help and support. And many companies don't issue these employees email addresses for the company. They may have their mobile phone number. So it gets really tricky to communicate to these employees and to support their needs. And so by giving them access to having MeBeBot, literally at their fingertips through their own personal mobile phones, through text messaging services, that allows them to get those quick answers to their questions as well, instead of spending their 15-minute break on their shift waiting outside of an HR person's office. So it's going to be very important to get to a whole other workplace segment that frankly is being underserved by a lot of the technology solutions in the market today.
That's interesting because not everybody has the latest, greatest tech. You think when you're in tech, everybody's up to speed, has the latest iPhone, laptop, whatever. But a lot of people are using basic tech to do their jobs.
That's right. Even there's a surge of flip phones. So,
Oh, yeah, that's Generation Z. They like the
yes.
analog and the old tech. They want to go
Yeah.
back to the days of no connectivity.
Well, they grew up with it too young, so that's part of the issue, right? So,
Yeah, and they have parents who didn't have it, and they think our childhoods were so much better because of it. And yeah, who knows? Can you talk about some of your customers? What kind of feedback have you received from companies using MeBeBot? And can you share any success stories?
yeah, absolutely. So we've been fortunate to work with some amazing companies and brands like E2Open, Epicor Software, IGT, Bumble, and others. And they have gravitated to our solution because, again, we are a solution that fits into their flow of work. And many of those companies were an app in the Slacker teams instances for their business. We also do have a SharePoint app that plugs into company intranet pages as well. And we help them facilitate that aspect of work where there's needs for employee support. And by freeing up and answering literally thousands of employee questions per month for many of our customers, we're freeing up time from the other team members with inside those groups, the business users of MeBeBot, from the HR professionals to the communications folks to people in IT and facilities, to focus on work that can provide more of an impact to the business. And so that's the piece that they really like, is being able to see innovation and technology. First, employees are happy. They don't have to wait for a response from a ticket. And then the teams within inside the company are happy because, again, I don't know a single HR person that went into HR to be the customer support person all day, right? There's other aspects of everyone's job that they're interested in focusing on. And so we help free that up. And the communications piece is also really key too. So, for example, IGT is one of our customers that has, 10,000 people in 30 global countries. And when they launched MeBeBot in 6 weeks, they were able to connect people to a solution where everyone had access. MeBeBot also speaks Spanish and Italian as well for those populations in those countries. And we're delivering those quick answers. What the people team loved so much about MeBeBot is that they could actually see data for the first time. They could see the information on how many questions MeBeBot answered per day, what kinds of questions were employees asking, what time of day were they even asking the question, and from what country. And so a lot of times that's real-time data that they've never had access to before. So they find that incredibly valuable to helping understand how they can better support the employee needs. At times they use that information to push out additional communications that helps, qualify or clarify something that people may be asking about, so they can quickly respond. And then they even use at IGT MeBeBot to welcome new hires. So when someone starts at the company, they get a push message from MeBeBot greeting them, letting them know that MeBeBot's there to help guide them through all the types of questions they have as a new hire. Another example is E2Open, and they were able to leverage MeBeBot through, I think they did 14 or 15 acquisitions in 3 years. So they were onboarding new employees in huge chunks of folks, meaning like 1,000 people at a time. And that's very hard on the internal teams because they're not really ready to hire that many people that quickly, but that's what essentially they went through during some of their growth phases. And so instead of having to add additional resources to the HR and IT teams, MeBeBot really helped those employees make that transition to E2 Open from their prior companies and really help them understand some of the core things that employees get a little concerned about when they're getting acquired. Like, how do I, what's my paycheck going to be like, and benefit? I need more information about the benefits. So we really help round things out during times of even M&A activity as well.
Now, you're a certified women's business enterprise. So how does MeBeBot promote diversity and inclusion both internally and through its services?
Well, we went through, and if anyone's gone through the WBENC certification process, it's pretty time consuming and thorough. And we went through that process, one, because we want to encourage more women in technology to actually get that certification and have that opportunity to talk to companies as a diverse vendor. However, we practice what we, preach. I mean, many of our customers, are women. I mean, the profession of HR has always been slanted toward, women leaders in that role. And so we, again, hire and retain our talent in a lot of women and actually just more diversity. I mean, we have a development team in Argentina, and it's 50-50 split between women and men developers. We have leadership roles within our company that span across different diverse backgrounds of individuals. And we just believe a lot in that. And we're out there always promoting the idea that diversity starts from day one, with inside your own organizations. And then, even, in what you can offer your customers, meaning we support a lot of our customers' DEIB initiatives, because if they have content or information about those programs, those are also questions MeBeBot answers. So we really, I guess, are very forward thinking on this, because we just want it to equal out the scales a little bit more, right?
There's a women's entrepreneurial task force that is seeking to make Austin one of the best places for women to start and scale a company. So, from your perspective, why is Austin a good place for you to build MeBeBot?
Well, one is because we have some amazing people in this city that are devoting time to it. I have been part of some of those initial task force meetings, which is great. And to see what the mayor is interested in doing, to bring more education, support, and frankly, we need more investor dollars. I mean, the way that these, types of entrepreneurial experiences will survive is if you have some financial backing to these organizations. So Austin's always been a community. I was just saying this to someone else. I've lived here over 20 years, where people love to support each other. There's not this spirit of competition. It's like cooperate. It's more cooperation, or how can I be of help to you? And so, getting out there, starting a company in a town where I've been part of a lot of other early stage, startups that have had various levels of success, some that did not succeed and some that did. I know that there is the community to pick you up if you have some failures, and yet guide you also to being of resources and help to success.
And what exciting developments or goals do you have planned for MeBeBot in the coming months and years?
Oh, that is like the $1 million question, because there's so much potential with the fast pace of AI, but we're going to stay core to our roots, which is we want to deliver solutions that drive the employee experience with inside companies, which is connection of the people to the business, to understanding how their work impacts the overall goals. And so continuing to advance and deliver on our product roadmap, more functionality and features, and even potential add-on product modules that make the workplace a little bit easier for the internal teams. They have, more support, as everyone's been stretched to do more with less. That's the mantra of the year. And if we can come in and be a solution to help companies do more than with less, that'll be great. And so there's a lot of technology advances that we have. However, we're also interested in growing community. We launched a brand ambassador program that we're looking to build with people who have utilized MeBeBot in the past and want to, perpetuate, helping organizations get a foundation of responsible AI, platform for employee experience inside companies. So building more community within our space in both the brand ambassador and ethical AI, as well as rounding out our product. And I'm sure that's going to lead to, adding new technical and other types of team members to MeBeBot in the near future.
Do you have a book that you could recommend that has been particularly helpful on your entrepreneurial journey?
Yes, I'll give a shout out to Gordon Dougherty of Capital Factory. He wrote a book called Startup Success, and it is one of the books that I have referenced time and time again, to the point where you bookmark pages on your Kindle. I even have a paper copy and a Kindle version. But he does such a great job of really helping founders and entrepreneurs through some of the things people don't talk about, and or make very complex. And he breaks it into a way that I know he teaches as part of his class that he does, the Founder Academy course he still teaches with Capital Factory. So this book is kind of an outcome of that. And I always recommend it to people who are getting started because I still refer to it today.
Well, that's great. That's the first time that's been recommended. So that's a good one. I'll have to look it up and I'll have to talk to Gordon. I know I've talked to him several times about.
Yes, it came out a couple years ago, and people on Amazon, it has a lot of 5-star reviews. So
Great. Well, thank you so much, Beth. Really appreciate you sharing your time with us today and giving us a lot of information about MeBeBot.
well, thanks, Laura, for having me. I always have fun talking to you. So this was great.